Welcome, everyone, to Friday Night Young at Heart. This is session number 6. And I'm Father James DeLucio with the Paulist Fathers here in the library, ready, willing, and able to offer you nursery rhymes, stories, songs, poems, Mother Goose, Aesop's, fables, Lewis Carroll, limericks, larks, and such, and other things to keep us all young at heart. And tonight we are going to have part 2 of Hans Christian Andersen's The Tinder Box, one of my favorite stories from my boyhood. And so, to pick up, or if you weren't with us last week, a very brief summary. A soldier comes back from the war, and as he's walking along the road, there's a witch who offers him this incredible, what is she offering him? Adventure. And she says that if he goes down this hollow tree, down to its roots, he will find something worth his while. For there are 3 great rooms, and all the rooms are lit by hundreds and hundreds of lamps, so he'll have no trouble seeing. And in each room is a treasure chest. First treasure chest is filled with copper coins, the second silver coins, and the third filled with gold. And, however, each treasure chest is sat upon by a great large dog, and in each subsequent room the dog gets bigger and bigger. But if the soldier puts down the special apron given to him by the witch and places the dog on the rug, he can fill his pockets with as much from the treasure chest as he can. Now, obviously, why not go straight to the gold? But implied but not stated in our story, he may not be able to move the dogs, if they're bigger and bigger, onto the cloth. So he decides that he will do it. Oh, one more thing. She said he can have all the coins that he likes, but she's looking for something special that belonged to her grandmother, and it is called a tinder box. Bring that up to her, and he can keep all the coins that he can carry up the hollow tree. Don't you love stories with a hollow tree? Okay. So, he takes the colored apron, and down he goes. The soldier now climbed up to the top of the oak, slipped through the hole in the trunk, and stood suddenly in the great hall, which was lighted exactly as the old witch had told him by 100 lamps. As soon as he looked around a little, he found also the 3 doors to the 3 rooms, and he immediately opened the first. Can you see him? Slowly turning the knob, opening the door, just as the witch had described. As soon as he looked around, there sat the dog, the first dog, with eyes as large as teacups, and staring at him. "Ho, ho, my dog," said the soldier. "Good fellow." And he spread the witch's apron on the floor and set the dog upon it. He now opened the money chest, filled all his pockets with copper halfpence, shut it again, put the staring dog back on the cover of the chest, and went with his apron into the second chamber. Good heavens! There sat the dog, a larger dog, with eyes as big as mill wheels. Now, you know the size of a mill wheel. You can look it up on Google, mill wheels. I won't tell you what they're for. You have to look that up too. They're big. Bigger than your dining room table. "You should not look at me so fixedly," said the soldier to the dog that was keeping watch. "That weakens my eyes." He then set the animal on the apron, but when he saw the quantity of the silver coins, He threw away the copper ones, and he filled all his pockets and his knapsack with bright silver. Afterwards, he went into the third chamber. Well, that was enough to disgust anybody. The dog really had eyes as large as the round tower, and they rolled in his head like turning wheels. "Good evening," said the soldier. He put his hand to his cap, and he saluted in true military style. I should do that again. "Good evening," said the soldier, putting his hand to his cap and saluting in true military style. Oh, that's this. Okay. I lost my place. For such a monster he had never seen before. However, after he had looked at him for some moments, he thought it was enough. So he spread out the apron, lifted the enormous dog off the cover of the chest, and placed him on the apron. And then he opened the treasure chest of money. What heaps of gold he saw! He could have bought all Copenhagen, all the sugar plums, all the games of soldiers, all the whips and rocking horses in Europe with the money in this chest. At the first sight of such rich treasure, the soldier threw away all the silver with which he was laden, and stuffed his pockets, his knapsack, his cap, his boots, so full of gold pieces that he could just about move with all the weight. Now he had money in abundance. The tremendous dog was put back on the cover of the chest again. The door of the chamber shut, and the soldier called up to the top of the tree. "Hallo, old hag! Now then, pull me up again." "Have you the tinder box?" cried the witch in reply. "I'll be hanged if I'd forgotten it," said the soldier. So he got the tinder box in his pocket and tied himself up with the rope. And the witch drew him up on the tree aside. She was a pretty muscular witch, to be sure, to be able to pull up the soldier all that gold and the tinder box. And soon enough, before he knew it, he was standing along the highway again with all his treasure. "What do you want with this tinder box?" asked the soldier. "That's nothing to you," said the old hag. "You've got plenty of money now. So give me the tinder box." "No," said the soldier. "Tell me directly, what will you do with this tinder box? Or I'll cut off your head with my sword." You never can really trust a witch with anything, can you? "No!" cried the witch. "I won't." What do you think he should do? Should I tell you or make you wait till next week? All right, I'll tell you. The soldier instantly drew his sword and chopped off the witch's head from her body. That was the end of her. He then tied up his money in her apron. He put the bundle over his shoulder and the tinder box in his pocket, and he trudged off to the next town. It was a large city he entered, and he went to the first hotel, asked for the best apartments, and he ordered the most delicate things for dinner. For he was now a moneyed man. And that will bring our story to a conclusion for tonight. How are you feeling in relation to our story? Any particular emotions evoked? What do you make of them? What do you make of our soldier by cutting off the head of the witch? Well, remember, this is 19th century. Witches could never be trusted in those days. Perhaps not even today, but it's a whole different thing, I should think. I felt a little sorry for the witch. Even as a child, I thought he went too far. But the more I pondered it, what's in this tinder box? Why did the witch want it? And what about Naomi? We always like to add that to questions we asked as a child. I don't know where we got the question. I don't know who Naomi is either. But did you do that as well? You're telling a story and you want to pause and you got everyone's attention and then you go, and what about Naomi? So, but again, we don't know what's in this tinder box, and if it has a lot of power, you don't want to give a lot of power to a witch. That's for sure. Now remember, as I said last week, this story was inspired in part by Aladdin and the Genie in the Lamp. So, it's a Copenhagen variation from the imagination of Hans Christian Andersen. Meanwhile, you use your imagination to stay young at heart. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm having fun. Even if nobody watches this, I can say this Friday night, I had fun. I hope if you watch this or you watch this later, you too will make some time for some fun to stay young at heart. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next time. Meanwhile, wear your masks even when you have had both vaccines, because we can't be too careful. And think of the gift to yourself and others, because you haven't caught a cold in this year's time. Something magical in that, isn't there? Have a good night, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Join me for Luke Live Online next Tuesday night, and if not, next Friday night for Young at Heart. Good night. God bless. Bye, everyone.